Hi, I'm John Bischoff. I'm running for Bannock County Commissioner, 3rd District. And why I'm running for office is I've been in activism now for quite a while, almost 5 years, give or take. And most of them for libertarian issues. And I finally got to the point about a year ago when I finally realized that there has to be somebody inside to change things. We can't do it. All the outside activism in the world is not going to do a whole lot of changing unless somebody is willing on the inside to make the proper changes. So at this point, I'm running under the idea that it's time to make a change for the better this time. Well, for starters, I have noticed that county commission candidates, for example, don't show up at city councils. County commissioners don't show up at city councils or at tribal council over in the reservation or any of the other governmental entities within the county. I would at least, I can't guarantee I'm going to make every meeting of every city in the entire county. That's just ludicrous. However, I will make an effort to at least try once a month to attend a few of the city council meetings within the county. I can't guarantee every one. No one should. If somebody's promising you that and they're going under the present meeting system of basically 8 hours a day, 5 days a week meetings, I'm going to go ahead and call that. That's not going to happen. However, the reach out needs to be both ways. Sometimes the city council, sometimes a representative from the city councils should show up at Bannock County Commission meetings. And that's another thing. We'll have meetings where they can actually show up and say, okay, I'm with the city council on this issue. This is what we're going, this is the way we're going. So we can at least commit to response in that time frame. It's jobs. Okay. No, but I don't think anybody in this entire county will say that the #1 issue is not jobs. Jobs is job one, if you will. Now, the problem here is how do we do it? Well, the FMC cleanup apparently is piling over the stuff in Power County. And there have been some noises about all the slag that was brought over by paving companies and various other entities, including some concrete companies, into Bannock County, and what that's going to do. That can provide jobs. It's not going to provide long-term jobs. Unfortunately, nothing else that we've been doing in the last decade is going to provide those long-term jobs. We've been basically providing tax breaks to companies that really need the tax breaks to even exist, much less exist in this county. And therefore, they're failing on the obvious thing, which is the payroll. So we need to have good jobs coming into the county. Part of this is we need to tell companies that want a tax break when they come into the county, fine, you can have a tax break after you've proven that you're going to be here in 3 years or something. I just pulled 3 years out of my hat, even though I'm not wearing a hat. The whole point here is we've got to step up and say to the people that are bringing the jobs in, bring good jobs, not just bring minimum wage, burger flipper jobs, or worse, bring in jobs that can effectively be done by somebody in India, and you will remind your employees every day of that. We don't want that. We don't want McJobs. We want real, serious jobs. And Bannock County can do it. We had the gun plant, we had the truck, and look at the history of the gun plant. First it was a gun plant. Lots of people boring steel. And then it was Bucyrus Erie, a trucking company. And they were great guns. The thing is, we're losing all of these, mostly by attrition, and we're not pulling them in. And I'm probably talking way over time here, so I'm going to drop it here, and we'll go on to the next question. Well, I can understand the point, but I do think that the primary point of, well, I'm a libertarian, okay? The primary point of community help is not the county government. The primary point of community help is places like SECA, or I don't want it. SECA is kind of a bad example, but the Red Cross, it's all the charitable organizations. Once the charitable organizations have helped everybody, then the county should say, is there anybody left? And from there, that's kind of a good spot to go. Now, the real problem with the Charlotte fire was not what happened after. Everybody in the county, you could feel the love for these guys. The Phoenix Foundation benefit over in Old Town, it was just packed. People wanted to give from the heart. And that's the best part about this county. What the county, the county government should have done, was the county government should have made sure that the fire never got to the point where it can jump into a populated area. That's why God invented fire breaks. Things like that. You've got honestly, from what I've talked to a few firefighters, and they've been trying to get the word out about fire safety. And yes, so Bannock County Commission should be trying to get the word out that this is the way to do it. And in some cases, that might be going neighborhood by neighborhood and literally just what we called in the Navy field day. Just go and make sure that everything's good. That's probably what we should have done, was prevention first. The county's real purpose in life is prevention of disasters, not response to disasters.
Right.
What is my vision for the valley is a whole lot of people living, I don't want to say in harmony because that's a trite phrase now. But what happens is Bannock County, to a large extent, other than the big city of Pocatello, is an agricultural community. You got your sugar beets, you got your potatoes, you got your wheat, and you can see those all over the place. Now, the thing is, in a lot of cases, these are monocultured. And one of the things we need to do is we need to get together as a community and do what's known as community-supported agriculture. That is a whole bunch of people working with a couple of farmers, and in some cases adding sweat equity, picking plants or picking potatoes or planting or hoeing or whatever. The whole point here is my vision for the valley is that we all work together and we have good jobs to do it. And the good jobs to do it, in some cases, is going to take some real effort on the Commission's part. Well, right now, we've got a very interesting thing going on in Pocatello specifically, and that's the animal shelter bond. People are literally going out to vote now just because of the animal shelter bond. They didn't care about the presidential campaign. They didn't care about the Congressional District 2 campaign. They didn't care about many of the... Honestly, I wouldn't care if I wasn't one of the people involved about many of the races. It's kind of a yawner this year. But the thing is, people are coming out and representing just because of the Humane Society bond. So one of the things that the County Commission needs well, doesn't need to do. One of the things that the county commission can do to get people involved is to start throwing some things on the ballots as referendums, such as there's one thing that's kind of near and dear to my heart that should be recognized, and that is right now in this county commission election, there are a 2-year and a 4-year seat that are actually technically districts within the county. 3rd district, which is the one I'm running for, is actually just the city of Pocatello on the Alameda/Pocatello side of the tracks. Old Town is not in District 3. However, everybody in the county can vote for me. And I hope everybody in the county does vote for me. Ha ha ha. The whole point here is that needs to be fixed. And the way it needs to be fixed is through a referendum. And I would probably say 3-year staggered terms for 3 years. 3-year staggered terms for the present commission. And it would actually work out. However, that's not something that I'm willing to commit to right now. But the point is, it's a referendum. And more referendums mean more voter turnout. More voter turnout means the voice of the people is being heard. I like the idea. Well, I'm already running a Twitter campaign. If anybody out there wishes to know what I'm thinking about a given issue, look for the hashtag #BishForCommish. Bish with the number 4. Yeah. Okay, it's on my chest. Don't worry about it too much. Hashtag Bish, the number 4, Commish. We will, Bannock County, okay, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'd like to see the Bannock County Commission actually go down to a couple of meetings a week where people can actually stand in front of the commission and do things. Or not do things, and make their voices heard. And if that's the case, and we only have a couple of hours per week to actually broadcast, we will broadcast them. We will be here on Channel 11. In fact, right now, the only time that the present county commissioners have been on Channel 11 is when these interviews are being when these interviews are coming out. They're not on it for the meetings anymore. They haven't been for almost 4 years. That's a good start. Let's put them on Channel 11 again. Let's also webcast them. Let's also set up video conferencing rigs in each of the various cities, in the city halls or in a meeting place, where we can actually get in touch with the people through video Skype it. Okay, welcome to the 21st century, guys. That's kind of it. Right now, there's an old saying, welcome to Idaho, set your clock back 50 years. Right now, we are setting our clock back 50 years. I'm on television. The last time television was a matter of point was 1980 something. Now we're into electronic stuff like your Twitter, your Facebook, your MySpace, if you will, and video conferencing like your Skype. More of that needs to come. Basically, the county commission needs to catch up to the 21st century. And when we catch up to the 21st century, we can actually do some interesting things, like have non-physical meetings of the county commission, where one of the county commissioners is you can basically set up the 3 county commissioners to have a month off during summer, where all they do is come in and teleconference into their meetings. Of course, that would be unpaid, I'd hope. But the point being that you can do these things when you're ready to communicate as a county commission. Right now, they're not. So if you put me in, I'm ready to communicate, I'm willing to communicate, and more importantly, I'm willing to listen to you. Well, ombudsman task is a very, very, very large part of a county commissioner job. And since the county commission right now is in meetings all day, 5 days a week, they're missing the ombudsman task. So right now, this would be a non-issue because the citizen would have to literally address the entire commission. If a citizen was addressing me personally, I would hope that I could sit there and rationally explain why the property taxes are the way they are, and if necessary, call down to the assessor's office, see if they can't get a reassessment. But really at this point, I would probably agree that every single person should be unhappy with their property tax because it's not being spent well. It's being spent on, I don't want to say frivolities, but it's not being spent wisely. So maybe we need to start spending the money wisely, and then there won't be any people who are unhappy with their property tax assessment because they'll be seeing what they're getting. Well, for starters, let's be realistic. There are a lot of people in the county right now, or a lot of people employed by the county right now, that are working 80-hour weeks sometimes, it seems. Let's go ahead and start thinking about ways we can bring their work level down to a point where they're not working overtime all the time. The second thing is there are certain parts of the county, well, let's be realistic. A lot of the county budget is literally just transferred through the county's hands. It goes out to another entity, like the Bannock Transportation Planning Organization, or just pick any of a dozen things. The whole point here is, and we have to hold the separate units responsible for what they're spending. And if they're not spending it well, we need to take the money, well, we don't need to take the money back. We need to not give it to them next year. That's a good place to start, is let's talk responsibility. Because I'm kind of, I don't want to say active, I've been reasonably non-inactive, if you will, in the veterans service organizations lately. And one of the things is, apparently the Bannock County Veteran Service Organization group is kind of dysfunctional. Somebody has to be the adult in the group and say, we can't do this. And if nobody is in the group that's the adult, then the county needs to say, well, until you've got an adult that's until you're willing to work with each other as adults, we don't need to spend the money there.
All right.
This is a tough issue. The reason it's a tough issue is because my first response is tax, let's cut it. The problem is this is a tax on this is a tax on businesses, and the way that the Idaho Association of Commerce and Industry is playing it is they want to remove the tax on basically like ON Semiconductor, Heinz, and all the big companies, while the small companies are paying twice as much. I don't like that. Fair is fair. Fair annoys everybody equally. So we need to, I don't like the present setup. I saw when they were running it as an initiative, and I don't like it. I would prefer to see it, I would prefer to see an even across the board personal property tax exemption and or personal property tax levy against everybody that's in business, whether they're a $2 a year or a $2 billion a year company. I'm John Bischoff. I'm running for 3rd District County Commission. And in case you didn't notice by my less than stellar dress and the fact that I'm still wearing my sunglasses indoors, I'm running a non-traditional campaign. I'm running as a libertarian, and you will not see me out there you will not see a John Bischoff for County Commission, or a Bish for Commish even, yard sign out there. I won't do it. The reason I won't is because of the fact that on November 7th, they're all litter. Let's start beautifying the county the right way by not littering to begin with. And I'm not going to be, well, I am going to be in as many debates as I can get my hands on. I'm not going to be doing what you expect from candidates. I'm not going to grip and grin, for example. Well, I do grip and grin. I grip and grin on a retail basis. I don't go to I don't go to the meat markets. Okay. Well, at this point, I do wish to tell you, please, please, please vote on November 6th if you haven't voted already, because absentee balloting is out there. But please vote on November 6th, and while you're there, please vote for me.